Thank you, everyone. This is Sharad Mohan from Nashville, Tennessee. As a proud Indian American, I was listening to all the politicians, the congressmen representing us, and their views representing us, and they were hearing very patiently all the viewers on Kashmir, Afghanistan, and the situation developing in that part of the world, and the impact on the America. Now, early in the morning, I would not start because the topic is, if you see my background, the book which I've written, Kashmir, the Bermuda Triangle of India in 2018, the blood dropping and all those things. I don't want to have that early in the morning. So what I can start is, yes, Kashmir has a very bloody past and entire region, Afghanistan, including Pakistan. But as one of the viewer presenter earlier mentioned about ISI and the role they would be playing and how we in America, as a proud American citizen and Indian American, how we are safe here. So just by pulling out America thinks we are safe, probably it's not. And that's where, if you remember, our kids, when they were growing, they were watching a very famous TV serial called Dora the Explorer. In the Dora the Explorer, there was a fox called Swiper, and we used to always hear kids saying, "Swiper, don't swipe." Now, Swiper is nothing but the ISI creating nuisance in that area. And because Swiper can never become a leopard or a tiger, it's not that deadly from the overall perspective. And that's where maybe the American policymakers getting all the feedbacks from their embassies and their sources there would be treating ISI like that, but it's not exactly that case. And what we should be aware is, like, sitting in America, we think, okay, we pulled out from Afghanistan, we are perfectly fine. It's like thousand miles away. There's no problem. But yes, there is no problem in that perspective, because if we are that naive, and I'm using the word naive because in one of my recent meeting with few of the politicians in one of the dinner party, I was asked a question that, oh, okay, you are an Indian American. Does India has an army, or or if India is an ally of America? No, you don't worry. South Korea will take care of India. With that kind of a backdrop and awareness of India's military might or India's strategic location, if our policymakers in Washington D.C. and the politicians are taking Kashmir, then they would never understand what Kashmir is, because again I will repeat from Samuel Huntington's book, The Clash of Civilization, where America is a great nation, and I'm very proud of, like all of us, and we will definitely do everything to not harm this country in any way and protect it. But America is not a civilization. America is a nation, whereas India is a civilization. And the war in Afghanistan, Kashmir, and the entire region is not a land war. It's a civilizational issue. That perspective, if it's not coming to the policymakers and they just bring an issue of, say, internet not available in Kashmir and that becomes a human right, then if that is the case, then today in Capitol Hill basement, internet was not working. There are many farms in Texas where internet is not available. I'm actually trying to buy a few farms there where internet is not available. Now, will that be a human right issue? So my point is, taking things from a face value and that naive approach will not work, because it's a very complex problem. And the Osama bin Laden's episode, the meeting of all these bad elements in the area where we have Iran with a nuclear strength, potential nuclear strength. We have Pakistan with a nuclear power. We have China entering in. America cannot just be complacent. And that is where it is very important to be actively involved so that the security of our future generation, not only in that region, but also in America, is properly taken care of. And that's where the policymakers need to understand the depth of the problem. It is just not internet issue. It is just not some other issue. I will definitely not try to bring the the Hindus genocide in Kashmir. It's too early in the morning to talk all these things. But again, we should remember that there was a Hindu genocide. There was a Baluchistani's genocide in Pakistan. Our Afghan brothers, they are always under pressure because of non-stop war. It's not ending. And even after $2 trillion, 10 years of military presence, we have not solved the problem. We are still talking with the Taliban. And for a lot of folks here, especially our respected politicians, probably you would like to Google the longest epic called Mahabharata, which is again from ancient Indian scriptures. In Mahabharata, the two enemies, primarily the two main enemies, one was from Gandhar, Shakuni, who was actually married to the Indian family, and the other side was the Indian state, represented by the Pandavas. And the fight where the Afghans were defeated in history were only by India. The Russian couldn't do it. America did everything, but unfortunately, they depended too much on the swiper, the ISI, and eventually we didn't get anything. And after 10 years, we are still talking with Taliban to come out of all this thing. $2 trillion of taxpayer money, my money, has been invested in this war. So there has to be some question to be answered. Well, what will happen with so Taliban has to be definitely discussed, talked properly. Afghans are very proud people, and India has a great relationship with them. And probably if they can understand anyone, it's India that can talk to them, and America should use that strategic advantage. And Anthony Bilkin is in India, so he can definitely use talking with our respected Jay Shankarji. But for Americans, okay, if it is a civilizational issue, why should we worry too much about it? Well, you should be worried because there is a nuclear Iran, there is an LGBT issue, there is a female related atrocities. If you have heard, 15 years to 41 years, even widowed ladies should be available for Afghan warrior as if they are a guinea pig for producing babies. Now, these are the rights where we stand in America as a sign of liberty. How can we be blindfolded on that? Child related atrocities, animal related atrocities, religious minorities, people who are not Muslims, and then you have China. So America just cannot walk out of Afghanistan. And because we here in America, as a proud American citizen, we feel that our policymakers should definitely not take this lightly, and they should consider the actual solution. It's too long. It's too long from where Nixon and our great Henry Kissinger had a relationship with India. Things have changed a lot. And if you remember a very famous quote from Henry Kissinger, where he said, America has no permanent friends or enemies, only interests. Yes, interest is important because we are a nation, we are the greatest nation on the planet, we have the best economy, but interest is just not transactional and business because there is an impact on our security as well. And that cannot be ignored. Even Alexander the Great once said, may God keep you away from the venom of cobra, the teeth of the tiger, and the revenge of the Afghans. So Afghans are people with tremendous pride. And if after investing $2 trillion in 10 years, with so many of our youngs dying, agreed, since February, we didn't had any casualty, but if you see 10 years, we lost a lot of our young braves. Now, with that kind of thing, and with only 75,000 Talibanis left, if we cannot handle as the superpower of the world with mightiest army, with $1 trillion in our economy, something is not well is done correctly, and politicians need to answer. So, as an Indian American, I feel that these are the issues. You you cannot have a naive approach of internet not working and relating it with the human right issue. If that is the case, then we will never be understanding the actual problem, whether the problem is cancerous or whether problem is just a normal allergy. I think we are treating it just as a normal allergy, and we think, okay, we are good by just so. So point is, it's just not a land issue. It's just not their issue. It is our issue, and we have to be a superpower for very long, and we have the responsibility of world's safety and security and ours as well along with it. So uh, definitely we need to look into that. I will just take two more minutes very quickly. So I wrote this book, Kashmir, the Bermuda Triangle of India, and it is available with a lot of congressmen here. I personally gave to few of them. A lot of issues have been mentioned in that Article 370, 35A. 35A is where after abolition of 35A, it's today when the ladies of Kashmir, Indian Kashmir, they can marry any outsider outside the state of any caste, religion, and then their rights will be maintained. It's earlier it was not like that. Nobody even bothered to look into these type of atrocities when we talk about internet not working. So that's where you have to get deep into the problem. You have to read few things. A lot of congressmen here are well informed. I don't want to tell them about the numbers of atrocities, genocides, etc. They have all the feedback from embassies, their sources there, so they're well read, well informed at least, if not well read. So, but the point is that the atrocities with the Afghans, especially with the child, you have a Malala case, you have so many other cases. It's not stopping in this time. And being such a strong country, if we cannot handle 75,000 Talibanis and we just think money is the way to solve a problem, it's a temporary fix. It's a band-aid approach, which will not work in that part of the region. You need to understand the difference between nation and civilization. There is a different kind of a mindset. They are totally different people, and this is definitely not problem with Muslims as such. Afghans Muslims are very different breed. They are very proud people, and we should all be supporting them to have a democracy there. One last thing I would like to add very quickly. So everybody talks about the problems and what is the solution, right? It's very easy to point problems because you can use all kinds of words to bring all those atrocities. But what's the solution? So what I had proposed in 2018, and at that time we had India did not abolish 370 and 35A. I had seen problem in 35A more than Article 370. And for people who don't know, probably they should read it. 35A is that bird where the life of the cruel magician lives. It's like, you define who will be Kashmiri, who is the citizen of Kashmir, and then based on that, all kinds of social and other atrocities was built. So you need to read 35A, what was that, and why that abolition was very important for India, not for India, for America, for liberty, for the value which our constitution upholds. So in the end, I will say, so then what's the solution? Well, solution has already, I think there are a few political steps which I think Dr. Jai Shankar and the government of India is doing. Some of the thing I had suggested in my book, and I will very quickly go through that, is I had suggested 7 C's. C for California. First C is a communication, which is talk with the influencer, the right influencer. Second, I said was catharsis. Catharsis was from radicalization, alienation of the people, local people, to assimilation through all kinds of government programs. It is happening, but it needs a international support. Everybody should say that, okay, this is the way the government of the day should do, and they should support it without any vested political interest. Third is the collectivism. Now, what we in America don't understand is, yes, India is a democracy, but India federal structure is different from America, where it is union in India, which basically is a union federalism, which means center has all the power over every state, unlike in America, where every state has their own constitution and flag. That is the major difference between American and Indian democracy and collective federalism. That's what I am suggesting in my one of the solution, and there are detail written in the book so people can read it. Confidence building. Confidence building is nothing but in line of Kashmiriyat, which is nothing but the humanity, right? Inclusiveness. So you should not live in a valley where you see your neighbors Muslim, your driver Muslim, your teacher Muslim, everybody is Muslim. You don't see any Hindus, and it's very surprising. It's very surprising that people here do not know that Kashmir main king, the biggest king in Kashmir, was a Sikh guy with the turban, Ranjit Singh. How many of our politicians knows that? Kashmir is not only Muslim or Kashmiri Pandit. So that kind of awareness is missing, and confidence building is one area which I had suggested. Commerce. Commerce definitely, there's a huge population in Kashmir, Muslim population, who are very poor because the elite and a lot of presenters before me, they had presented or mentioned, there's only few Abdullahs and Muftis of the world, and they are ruling the Kashmir. So the the financial development should go to the lowest level, and that is one of the solution to stop the factory of terrorism, which attracts the young minds and young people. One important thing I mentioned was the class. Class is nothing but stratification of the Muslim, which is like the commerce. Only 5 or 6 families in Kashmir, influenced by Pakistan and political um, interest, they rule the Kashmir. Their kids don't pick up the stone and don't throw the bomb. It's always the lower section of the society, and that's where America, a true liberal, a true liberty champion, and we are so proud of it, should help Kashmir to overcome those kind of poverty, so that the right education is given, and we stop the factory of terrorism. It's a fertile ground. People are very easily pulled into that area. And the last is the conquest of border. Now, conquest of border may look very land grabbing attitude, but America should understand, unless and until Pak occupied Kashmir is merged with India, there is going to be no solution of China containment, influence of Russia, and influence of Iran. That has to be understood. There has to be a remap drawing. POK has to be part of India with whatever government and whatever rights given to the people. If you want to really solve the problem as a cancerous problem, then that is the approach. You just cannot give a medication of allergy to a patient who has some severe problem, which is cancerous. So with that, I would like to end. Thank you very much for giving me time. Namaskar.
Oh, Mohan. Yeah. So, first of all, I want to thank you for sharing important insights about several key elements about Kashmir. And thank you for sharing. We were the audience, we were just kind of sitting across on the chairs trying to get as much as we could get from this session from yours. But thank you for doing that. And I think you touched upon some important points, including that Jammu and Kashmir is actually a complex from in terms of having both Muslims, Hindus, Sikhs, we have Buddhists, we have part of our Valmikis as well. And I think we're all here together to fight for truth, to bring out the fact that genocide of Kashmiri Hindus happened in Kashmir, to fight for the human rights violations which happened for Kashmiri Hindus in particular, to fight with regard to the exodus that happened because of terrorism in the valley, which was sponsored across the border and which was abetted and facilitated, unfortunately, by the extremist elements within the valley as well. So, but the reason why we are today here, we wanted to educate our lawmakers, we want to educate our general public. And as you might have seen, some of you who caught on this one, we had a great alliance of folks from Afghanistan, from Palestine, for other occupied part of Kashmir, as well as other who are almost on the same page with regard to being victims of terrorism or victims of extremist policies, which unfortunately are being exported by Pakistan and also applied within their own country. So we are keeping on looking for more opportunities to educate everyone around us, to educate our Congress people as well, and to bring the facts. So if I can end up with a single statement is that people keep on saying we stand for this organization, that organization. Our only slogan is that we stand for the truth. And we want you to come and stand for the truth. Nothing but truth about Kashmir, truth about the genocide of Kashmiri Hindus, the truth about the exodus of Kashmiri Hindus, the truth about Kashmiri Hindus to not be able to go back to their country. And the fact that the best thing Government of India has done is to give a hope to Jammu and Kashmir region by abrogating Article 370-35A. We have to applaud the Government of India for having done that. Yes, the development work is going on. There are many, many milestones to be met, but we are on the path, and we want all of you guys to join together to meet the challenges of the future. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you, Sharadji. Hello.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Sharadji,
We'll
and
drop now.
thank you, Aditya ji. So we had a very good event today.